Friday night. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It is great to see you. I am so cozied up in the corner of the studio tonight because you know what? It's really cold. It's really cold. I shouldn't say that in front of my buddies who are from Canada because I know, Linda Ann, you were walking your dog this morning and it was like negative something stupid. It's not that cold, but man, it's cold for us here in New England. We are not used to this. I am really close to you tonight. Sorry about that. But we have trivia night tonight, and I've got my reading glasses on. I've got our trivia notes. We have some great games coming your way. I am so glad you're there. Let me see who's on tonight. Nicole, great to see you. Happy Friday night. You know, I'm forgetting. It's Friday night, right? I mean, this is cocktail night, so that part I remember. I keep forgetting I have a buddy right next to me here, too. Look at this little sweetheart. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. It's Baby the dog. She's sleeping. Jay is here with me. He's working on braiding a rug. We are going through all our braiding a rug notes because, of course, the first book is coming out. I want to make sure the directions are correct. Nicole, it is great to see you. Sherry, it is great to see you. Happy Friday night. Is everybody ready for some trivia? Everybody feeling smart and feeling lucky and all that? We're not playing for money, of course. But we are playing for, I guess, pride and integrity. Just kidding. Just kidding. These are pretty easy questions as well. Andrea, great to see you. You are up late. I wonder how your projects are going. Cheers, my dears. Sweet white wine. Oh, that sounds really good. Now I'm second guessing my choice here. I've got Coffee House Porter. I do like a good stout porter, that kind of heavy thing in the winter. This one's from Berkshire Brewing. Oh, we were in Berkshire Brewing not that long ago. Yeah. Oh, Berkshire Brewing is a nice brewery. I think when I was drinking this there, I think I had more than one and I was going, this is the best I've ever had. And it is very good, but it doesn't sound as good as sweet white wine, I have to say. Mm. Oh, Andrew, you said you're finishing the Grandma Moses rug tomorrow. I can't believe you're working that fast. My God, that's incredible. You can't see it yet. Oh, I get it. You're working on the design. You haven't finished it yet, right? That would be impossible. Would that be impossible? Or you have a little motor going in you. That's possible. April, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. Mike's Hard Lemonade. Those are so nice. You know what that reminds me of? Warm weather. Like it's like hard to relate to that at all. Like it's hard to remember that there ever was a warm weather day, you know? Do you ever have that feeling like in the morning when you're so cold and you think, God, I can't remember ever being warm. I can't even imagine ever being warm and comfortable again. That's lately. Becky, great to see you. Good evening. Ready to listen and hook and relax? Sounds great. Candace, great to see you. It thawed out in North Texas. That is good news. Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Guess what? I must have got gifted an update because my volume was way down. And I never touch that. You know I don't touch that volume. I'm not starting again, but I will say I'm so happy that you're there. It's cold here. That's like I'm paraphrasing what I said so far. It was all boring. None of it was important yet. Robin, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, in Wisconsin. Teddy is calling. Here, I'm going to put my phone here in case he calls. Oh, warmed mulled wine. Now that does sound nice. Ooh, mulled wine. That is so Charles Dickens and wintry, isn't it? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I love it when that happens, right? When my mouth is running for like 15 minutes. Thank you for catching that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear April, great to see you. That does sound great. The mulled wine. It hits the spot for sure. It must be cold in Wisconsin. I can only imagine. Linda H., happy cocktail night in Massachusetts. Great to see you. Dave, I gotta know. Very cold and windy. It is crazy windy here, too. You're probably going to hear it. The wind keeps whipping through and like, I guess getting under the siding on this building where the studio is. And it sounds like the world is ending. It really is scary. The first times I heard it, I thought, this is it. This is the big one. But it's just loud, so hopefully it's at bay. But yeah, we're getting the same crazy storm, Dave. Really crazy. Dave, is there another bookstore in Toronto? Because I have been thinking about that. Now I got it in my head that I'm headed up there in June when the book comes out. So hopefully there's got to be another one, right? That's such a big city. Beef burgers and cider to keep you warm. That sounds great. Sharon, great to see you. In windy Vancouver, it is windy all over the place. Shannon, great to see you. I've got your two pieces almost ready. I'm super excited. I'm just going to take 1 second to say, well, it'll be a minute, I'm sure. You know, I'm working on the second book, which is for Rug Cooking Magazine, and that should be out later this year. And it's based on the Design Like series that I've been running for a couple of years at Ribbon Candy Hooking. By the way, I just put out the new design. Hold on that thought. I'm so distracted and scattered, huh? So the book that I'm working on now, right? The first one should be coming out on June 1st. The second one is the Design Like book, and I'm going chapter to chapter, and I'm choosing, kind of whimsically choosing chapter people. Like probably going to do Van Gogh and Monet and some of the ones that were really popular. Magdalena, Linda Anna's hooking the Magdalena rug. I'm doing a bunch of artists that you know, and a bunch hopefully that you haven't heard of yet. That will be a great surprise. So I know a lot of my buddies out there are hooking rugs for me. So in other words, with every chapter, it's like a Design Like class. This is what this artist did. This is this artist's colors. These are the things we associate with this artist. And if you want to make your own design for a rug, that is in the style of this artist, right? Many artists are copyright free because of the age of the work and the age of like the distance between the present day and their death. And it differs from country to country, and it is a moving target. It changes often. But in any case, a lot of people are helping me with this. And if you would like to help, I would love the help. Shannon last night said that she would do two. I will not hold you to it if life gets busy. But the two that I drew already that she's doing are excellent ones. I'm not going to say who the artists are because that should be in part a surprise. But they're both artists that are not well known at all. And I think they are spectacular artists. So the reason I bring that up is because I announced this morning the newest Design Like class with this book in mind, because at this moment in life and busyness, I can't afford to be working fragmented and unconnected. I have to like kind of align projects. So I wanted to do a Design Like this month that if great work comes out of it, if people are taking the class, are loving designing in the style of, then I could maybe see, I'm such a predator too. I could maybe use your designs and your rugs in the book, right, when I get to those chapters. Because the three artists that I'm covering, it's like the holy trinity this month of, hope that wasn't too sacrilegious, of female modernists. All three of them I have in my head to use for this book or for the follow-up to this book, because it's going to be part of a series, the Design Like. So this month's Design Like, to make a long story short, too late, right? Remember Clue, the movie? This month it is designing like the great female modernists. And it's such a crazy combo because I've got three people. You've probably heard of one of them, but probably not the other two. The three people in the Design Like class this month are Helen Frankenthaler, which she's quite famous, right? And she will bring us to Manhattan in 1950, that art scene. I mean, she's a Jewish woman in 1950, New York City, doing this crazy modernist work that was completely so far ahead of its time, it made sense to nobody. I mean, she worked for like 6 decades, long career, super successful career. She set up a foundation at the end of her career. She was very successful. And recently her foundation that she set up, obviously in her lifetime, she's already passed away, but just gave something like $5 million to COVID relief. So still doing great like humanitarian work. But her art, her legacy is just unbelievable because she was a complete pioneer. So she's the first woman. The second woman is Hilna af Klint, who was a Scandinavian, a Swedish artist. And she's an interesting character because she's, we're talking about right like the Victorian period at the end of the 19th century, right into the first years of the 20th century. So, this is a time frame that we don't usually associate with women artists, particularly modernists, at all. She was also a medium and a spiritualist. And with her really crazy paintings, right? Again, nobody understood her work. It was so colorful, so bright, so alive. But she painted from what her memories were of being in sort of, for lack of a better word, a trance during a seance. So take it for what it is, however you feel about that. But in any case, she was trying to put onto canvas to record her impressions of being in these various seances because she was a well-known medium. So this is really interesting, and a spiritualist. So we have a spiritualist painter. Really exciting work, and completely forgotten until a few years ago when the Guggenheim Museum did a huge exhibition of her work. And now she's becoming better known. But she went many, basically a century being forgotten. So that's interesting, and I really like her work. It's a little crazy. I'm going to say it, but it's in context. It's very interesting, and she was interesting. And the third, but not last woman, is Agnes Pelton, who was a German woman, and she moved to the U.S. as a child, to the sort of Southwest, and she began doing portraits of like Pueblo Native Americans, and she got very into still lifes, and she ended up with landscape, and her landscapes are ultra surreal, sort of modernist, very planetary. She's known as the desert transcendental painter. So if you can picture like any crazy album cover with planets from the 1970s or 1980s, that's what her work looks like. It's very cool. They are very different from each other. Three very different women from three different countries, ultra modern, all trailblazers. It's going to be a very interesting class. We're going to peel some designs from the bodies of their work and look at what they did and where they were coming from. And it is going to be unlike any of the other design light classes. I'm really hoping that you will take it, that you will like it, that you will send me some drawings and or send me some finished rugs that I can use for the book afterward, because that would be wonderful. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Carol P., good to see you. Glass of red wine. That sounds great. You're still in Utah, Carol? That sounds great. Melanie, great to see you. Melanie, I'm using one of your rugs tonight, but in the unfinished state, because I'm saving the finished one for gallery night, which will probably be coming up in a couple of weeks, right? We're going to be due for it in a couple of weeks. And it is windy, wet, and dreary in Western Washington. I believe it. Iced tea tonight. Doing the whip stitching on the Sea Pony. That was a beautiful one, too. The Sea Pony is the seahorse, right? That was a beautiful one. Husband is fixing grilled salmon. Well, living in the lap of luxury. I like that. That sounds fantastic. Karen, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. It's been a wonderfully sunny and mild day there. You have gotten different weather in Colorado. You're in Colorado right now, right? Frigid temps earlier this week. Good. I'm getting all the low volume sounds, and now we're good. Priscilla, great to see you in frigid Ohio. That's very descriptive. That's all you need to say, right? It is absolutely frigid in Ohio. I believe it. Oh, my word. Judy, great to see you. Good thing we got. It is April. It's an Australian. Well, it's a cattle dog, but absolutely cute little face. She'll wake up and she will make herself known. I have no doubt. As soon as she wakes up, she's sleeping. Where's her? I'm not going to touch her because she's unconscious. Yeah. What am I thinking?
Let a sleeping dog lie.
Let a sleeping dog lie. Absolutely. Holy mackerel. Joy, good to see you. Ava, good to see you. Lisa, good to see you. Sherry, I got there in the end, right? Ryan, great to see you. I'm using you in the show tonight too. I should have written to tell you. You're in there. Actually, you're Ryan, you're gonna laugh. You are one of the trivia questions. You're not the answer, or I wouldn't have given it away that easily. Jay says, yes, she's a cattle dog. Sounds good, Judy, much better. Oh, everybody's cold. Kimberly Rose, good to see you. I'm glad you're there. Good to see you. Your account helped me learn how to use my latch hooks, and my mom bought me a kit, and it's a Maxim, and I love latch hooking right now. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. We have a lot of latchers in our group, and I love it too. In fact, one of the projects I'm working on right now, I'm about to start for the book. I think I can say this because I said it during the class. One of the past Design Light classes featured, again, several people, but one of them was Annie Albers, and she was from Hartford, Connecticut, near me here, and she was a weaver. She also did a lot of rug designs, but I have created an Annie Albers design that looks like more like weaving than a rug pattern, so it's very square oriented, and I'm hooking it into latch hook backing with a latch hook probably. I might switch to my rug hook. We're going to see how it goes, or a crochet hook. It depends on what works fastest, right? And I'm going to be cutting up a bunch of mohair scarves that I put through the washer and the dryer, like, the really itchy ones. And I'm going to be cutting those into strips with my scissors and hooking with that. And I'm going to be handling the project like a cross-stitch project. So I'm going to be looking at the drawing that I have, which is on grid paper, of this design that is like my homage to Annie Albers. And I'm going to be reading it like a cross-stitch, God forbid, right? I know a lot of you love cross-stitch. But for me, at this point in my life, it's not on. But I am reading it like a book. Like, this one is this one is that, and how many of these can I go, and then next row. So we'll see how many times I screw up. But since the nature, it'll be a lot. But since the nature of it is, it looks like a weaving, it won't be super obvious when I have screwed up, which will be a lot. Always is. Hello, Deanna, nice to meet you. I screw everything up. Yes, Jay's reminding me to like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. A special shout out to Patreon members. I owe you an email for the beginning of the month with a free pattern, so that will be coming to you. A little bit of a push today, getting orders out, getting the show ready, and a bunch of other things. Class tomorrow, Sunday, oversold class in Madison doing the multi-strand weaving. But I will have that out to you in the next couple days, I promise, and it will come with a great original pattern. If you are a Patreon member, you can look forward. Starting this month into next month, we're starting a new feature in the, can I say it, do you think? Okay, it'll be a surprise. We're starting a new feature in the Patreon letter. You will still get at least one free pattern a month. In the winter, I like to give you a couple, especially around the holidays and stuff, just in case something doesn't strike you the right way. And we are starting a new feature to add to the Patreon newsletter for Patreon members. So it will be coming out always at least twice a month. Huge thank you to Patreon members for supporting this channel. In days like this, when I have literally spent 99% of the day working on the content of the show and not actually working. This is also working. But huge thank you to you for that. This is the reason I can do this. Kimberly, Carrie, great to see you in Florida. Sonia, great to see you. Minus 15 Celsius there. That's rough. That's really rough. Holy mackerel. Cats Gallery, hello in Savannah. Great to see you. Screw ups make things beautiful. They do, Sherry, and they remind me of who I am too. They keep me really grounded. Sometimes I get a little on my high horse, and I think I'm awesome, and then I make 20 mistakes in the next 10 minutes, and I think, nah, I'm not awesome. Just doing my usual thing. So tonight is trivia night, and the shape that tonight will take is I've got some great commentary for you. Unfortunately, the way that I structured the night, and this is probably very stupid, one of my mistakes, I have a lot of text for you at the beginning. I fell down a few rabbit holes, and the first rabbit hole was Alice in Wonderland, like caliber. It was vast and deep and wild. So I have a lot of text at the beginning of the episode, but not so much later on. So we're going to start going kind of like, really quick, rapid fire with trivia questions and things later. But this is a kind of organic flowing night. I'm going to be showing you different rugs that my buddy Jane Davies found, most of them, right? She helps me from Wales in the UK. She found most of these rugs, and I supplement it with a few others. And by looking at a rug, I came up with a trivia question. Not necessarily related to rug hooking, but general interest. So we can all enjoy, because I know on Friday nights there's often spouses and partners listening in, so we can all enjoy this night. A few of these are really rug hooking questions or rug making questions, but not all. So the idea is we'll look at a rug together, and I'm going to ask you some kind of trivia question, and you answer in the thread. And there's, if you answer a stupid answer, who cares, right? It's funny. We'll all laugh about it. You can't imagine how many stupid things I came up with while I was looking for questions and things like that. I learned a lot tonight, and I hope that you will too. So let me come over to the slideshow for tonight, and let's get going. Oh, wait a minute. I want to tell you a couple of things right before we do it. Okay, this class, this is Loveweed. So this is a pattern that came out, cute primitive pattern of a couple, very sort of folky, right? Small pattern that comes with these lamb's tails. I released this past week. This is a kit. It's also a pattern, and this morning I put it up as a class. So if you are an absolute beginner and you would like to do this with me over Zoom, look at the class dates. They are February 26th and February 27th. Incidentally, my birthday is February 28th, turning the big 51. So I've got 9 more years before the next breakdown. Good news. But February 26th, February 27th, I will be running this class as Zoom. We'll be doing beginner hooking techniques. It comes with all the supplies, and we'll be doing the lamb's tongues together. So that's coming up. Also, just so you know, my class this weekend is sold out in Connecticut for the multi-strand braiding. There's another Zoom class coming up this Sunday for multi-strand braiding. It's too late to get you supplies, but you could cut up your own t-shirts and log on. I will be releasing at least one more date, if not 2, in a couple of weeks for more multi-strand braiding. There's a big demand for this class, so I want to be there to meet the demand. This class is coming up in person for me next time. Next time it has available spots on Cape Cod at Salt Yarn in Dennis on Route 6A on Saturday, January 18th. Salt Yarn. That's on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Sorry, February 18th. Thank you. February 18th. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let me scroll past these. Remember on Wednesday we did not finish our look at the currently available rugs. We're going to pick that up on Monday. So we're starting with our trivia night. This is the first rug we're looking at. This is by one of my all-time favorite rug designers, Sharon Smith. I did a full-length cocktail night show the week that she passed away, and we looked at all of her rugs in detail, had some remarks from her friends. It was a beautiful, emotional show. I absolutely love her work. This piece is called Purple Rain. The Sharon Smith patterns are available through, I'm always advertising for other people. I advertise for myself tonight too. So they're Cushing, right? They're Cushing patterns. So if you like this pattern, this is available at Cushing. I love this pattern. And this pattern is called Purple Rain. So my trivia question for you, looking at this lovely rug, we love it and admire it, right? I think I have this pattern. I love this, Sherry, right? It's so whimsical. But the name Purple Rain reminded me of something else, right? So my trivia question for you for this rug is, what year did Prince's album Purple Rain come out? Was it 1982, 1985, or 1989? And while you're thinking, oh, I wish we had some do 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 do. Oh, no, we would get copyrighted for that. No, that can't be. While you're thinking and putting your answers into the thread there, I will put Sharon Smith's Purple Rain back on there. We certainly are not going to play that song. We would get copyrighted up, and this video would be locked before I said the next, just kidding, word.
It's another video people want you to do. Copyright specialties.
Oh, okay. Is that one they want me to do?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Ooh, lots of different answers here. All good. These are all good guesses because all these years are so close together. 1985 is the right answer. It's so tough. I think I would have also gone with 1982. I remember it as being so long ago. Did you all like Prince? I'm not going to trash talk him, but I have to say, I didn't like him at all.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I was heavy into show tunes and jazz, and my dad listened to like Arthur Fiedler and once in a while ABBA, but that was, I mean, in terms of popular music, that was it. Otherwise, it was like classical and wacky jazz, far out jazz, you know. Well, Tijuana Brass and stuff like that. But yeah, I just was not in the mindset for Prince. Maybe it was just too much for me then, but never connected. Many of you got the right answer. Great job. I had that album too, April. I wanted to like it because all the cool kids liked it, and I just, yeah. I mean, I kept coming back to, my Roger Whittaker. Like that was one of our big ones. His whistling albums. I couldn't tell anybody that I listened to Roger Whittaker whistling, and I liked that more than Prince. But I did. You loved him. Yeah, I mean, he had obviously a huge following, and I get how talented how multi-talented he was, producing and writing and doing everything on his albums was incredible. That's funny. I like to know what you all like too. I'm in Minneapolis. It's in the water. That's funny. Whipped cream, my parents. Oh, Sherry, the Tijuana Brass, is that your reference to the whipped cream? That album cover? I tend to like the song over who sang it. You know, Sonia, I do too. In most cases, I do too. I really do. For me, I always like a song that I like the lyrics, right? If I like the lyrics and the song is boring or repetitive, I probably still really like the song because I like the lyrics. It doesn't usually work the other way. It's a beautiful song, but the lyrics are stupid, and I can't. So I'm very lyric driven. Oh, does he, Sharon? He loves Roger Whittaker. Since my dad did too, I have like a lot of Roger Whittaker songs on my Spotify and stuff because, yeah, very nostalgic. Very fun. Well, you all did great with that first question. Now we're going to go down a giant rabbit hole, so fasten your seatbelt and get ready for some silliness here. This was the best rabbit hole of the night for me. So I was looking at this pattern. This is hooked by Daniela Brooks, who does beautiful work. This is a ribbon candy hooking pattern called Conversation Hearts. So this is one I designed like 2 years ago, Jay, 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when we first started. It was in February. It was the second month, February of 2020.
3 years ago.
Yeah, February of 2020.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we started
That was your
January
first one.
1st,
Right.
of
2020.
2020, and then you know what happened. Yeah, I remember looking at that album cover thinking, ooh, naughty. Me too, Sherry. Just looking at a half-naked lady covered with whipped cream. My, how times have changed, right? That is so benign at this point. So this piece is called Conversation Hearts. There's a couple of people ordered it today, actually, so I'm going to be doing another batch of dyeing because I want to get all of these colors right. But this is hooked by Daniela Brooks. And Daniela, if you're watching, as you often are, absolutely beautiful work. This made me think of all kinds of things, but obviously conversation hearts. So I wanted to talk a little bit, and I'll come back to the picture. This is a big rabbit hole, but I hope that you enjoy this because I think most of you enjoy history. I got going on researching the history of conversation hearts, and by that I mean the candies. Let me show you the candies. I know you know, right? You know, but just in case, I'm talking about these guys. So I picked up a big piece of this commentary from a website called, or a blog called Mental Floss. It really is an excellent blog. I pull from them a lot. And an article by Erin Blakemore. And this is what it says, right? I'm going to read a good part of it. She says, the story of conversation hearts began in 1847 when a Boston pharmacist named Oliver Chase longed for a way to get in on the apothecary lozenge craze, right? Lozenge, because you know a lot of these lozenges were made with like very naughty things, right? They gave people more effects than relief from a sore throat, right? Lozenges were quickly gaining steam as the medicine conveyance of choice and were also popular remedies for sore throats and bad breath. But making lozenges was complicated and very time consuming. I'm paraphrasing. The process involved a mortar and pestle, kneading dough and rolling it out, right? And I want to show you this because sometimes I talk about this. This comes up a lot. When I go to Sturbridge Village around here, or Plymouth Plantation, or Mystic Seaport, or any of these history recreation villages, you often see these pillboards. Maybe, oh, Wendy, great to see you. Maybe you've seen these in an antique store and you go, what are these? This is a pillboard. This is a Victorian era pillboard. And you would use a mortar and pestle to make a compound that looked like Play-Doh. And you would roll it with this, right? Keep your hands for the most part off, but you would roll it into these little channels. You would put it on there and just start rolling it, and it would make a series of little pills that you would brush onto the wooden part. Can you imagine nowadays? This is just not something that we would think would be sanitary, we would want to put in our mouths. Kind of like a cutting board, but for the entire town or village. So this was a long process, and at the end of it, they would be rolling out these little pills and then cutting them into discs, flat discs, which would eventually be the lozenges, right? So Oliver Chase is thinking there must be a better way to do this that cuts off time, that makes more sense, and he figures out a better way to do this, right? So he's inspired by the new wave of gadgets that are appearing all over the place, right? We're talking about like America's industrialized, right? And all these new things are popping up from factories, new machines to speed life up in every way. He gets in on it, and he invents a machine that rolls the lozenge dough, right? So no need for the pillboard. It does that part for you, and at the same time presses, for lack of a better word, dough, right? It's not dough. You know it's not dough. It's going to be a lozenge. It presses it into little discs, like perfect size discs. So perfect circle is going to make a perfect disc, right? When you press it down, like Mr. Bill. Oh no, Mr. Bill, right down. Oliver had inadvertently created America's first candy making machine at the same time. So before long, he kind of abandoned this whole pharmacy crank thing that he had going, and he started making candies instead because these were much better sellers, and it was very obvious that these flat, kind of chalky discs, right, when they were finished, this is what the trivia question is going to be. Do you know what candy I'm describing? These are kind of chalky, round, flat discs. Don't say it out loud. Let them guess. Do you know what candy I'm talking about? I don't know if this candy exists in other countries. It's a very old candy. I love chalky everything. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, Ryan. I love chalky everything. That's why I love Pepto-Bismol. It's a good thing I don't keep it in the house because I'd be drinking it. I've always said if they ever made some kind of alcohol that's like shot that tasted like Pepto-Bismol, I would be all over that. I would have fish, tacos, ice cream, and then I would drink that, and I would be all set, wouldn't I? I'm wondering if anyone's going to get this. I'm going to hang here for a minute. Sweet tarts. That's a great guess. Nope, not sweet. Yes. Jay, you got it.
Yeah?
Yeah, he got it. He's sitting right there. You're not braiding your rug, are you?
Yeah, no, I'm reading your
Yes,
directions.
Becky. Pink peppermints. No, you're all very close. Necco wafers. Do you know Necco wafers? Right? Because if you don't, Candace, good job. If you don't, that's not going to make any sense. So Necco wafers. Now, the interesting thing about Necco wafers, they come in this wax paper tube, right? They still are available, and now they make the all brown ones. That's the chocolate flavor, which are the best, right? Even my kids like Necco wafers. They're super powdery and chalky. Legend has it that these Necco wafers were carried by Civil War soldiers. Legend has it, and the timeline fits. And there's a further sort of guess that, okay, hold on. Okay, that the tradition of sending loving greetings to the troops morphed into the conversation heart. But those claims are hard to verify. So, in other words, it is believed that Civil War soldiers had Necco wafers on them as candy, right? People were sending Necco wafers to soldiers as candy. And that the idea for the same candy, but with a message on it for the troops to lift their spirits, a lot of people believe that this is the evolution, right? That the Chase brothers got this idea because of like popular culture and people saying, well, you should print something on them that, since the soldiers are having them as treats, you should print something like uplifting and cheerful on them that tells them that we love them. This cannot be verified so far, but this is a strong belief, right? I think they have them. Oh, they definitely have them at the Cracker Barrel. Definitely.
Yeah.
Wintergreen flavored. Carol, do they have them wintergreen flavored? Do they have an all wintergreen pack? Because I see them as I forgot about those too, Judy. Right? I forgot about them until like a year ago, and my kids saw them at CVS because they have them at our CVS too. The brown ones and then the rainbow ones. I don't like the pink ones. I like the orange ones. Remember the orange ones? They don't taste like orange. They don't taste like the thing that they are. Anyway, what is clear about this whole story is that Oliver built the candy empire, right? Trying to do the lozenges and realizing he'd made a candy machine. But his brother Daniel really capitalized on the candy part of it. And what he did, Daniel, the brother, Daniel Chase, is inspired by this whole Valentine thing, right? Valentine's Day is becoming a really big holiday in the United States. And it is popularized by a woman called Esther Howland. Hold on that thought because we're going to go down that rabbit hole in a minute. It's another crazy story that you're just not going to believe. It's a great story. Hold on that. Valentine's Day cards are becoming popular. People are starting to celebrate Valentine's Day and love and couples and all of this. And Daniel, the brother, wondered if it was actually possible to print messages on these existing candies. So in 1866, he figured out a way to print words on on these candies using vegetable dye during the cutting process. And these are conversation hearts, right? This is how they started. From Necco wafers to conversation hearts, because essentially they're the same taste, aren't they? They were originally completely the same taste. People loved conversation candies. They were not heart-shaped until 1902. So from 1866 to 1902, they were still a circle with either a circle or a different shape with words on them. And their witty messages could stoke the flames of love or warn off flaky suitors. So you could give someone a candy that said like something like no thanks or my heart belongs to another or something like that, right? So Daniel's candies were much bigger in size than today's version. And let me show you what some of these look like. Now, I have to warn you, if you are snacking right now or you are having nice salmon, some of these look gross because these are like museum photos of these candies and they're old, right? So you're not going to want to eat these. They're not going to look appetizing. Spoiler alert, right? Not for all audiences. So hang on. Let me bring you. I thought it was just so cool. It took forever to find some examples. These are examples of big hearts, right? So these are not old ones, but these are reproductions of what they look like. And they had like this kind of text on them because they were really large. Sweets to the sweet. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. So they would have these long phrases on them like this, right? They wouldn't just be two words. These are the old ones, right? So they don't look like you would want to put them in your mouth unless you were on maybe Fear Factor. I am not too young. Mother knows I am out. So this is like replacing, at this period in history, right, the end of the 19th century, this is replacing like the secret language of fans, things like that. You're giving someone candy to give them a secret message. You're sitting next to them and you pass them a piece of candy. You can give them a secret message while your chaperone is sitting there or while you're at church or wherever, you know. I mean, so neat. So these are some of the original shapes of these candies. You're a flirt, miss, with the weird kind of like Masonic symbol, right? Like the Order of the Eastern Star or whatever symbol on it for some reason. Stop your questions. I am truly all aboard. Can you polka LOL? I looked for a box of message hearts at 2 stores today and couldn't find any. Can you polka? Is that what one of them said? Did it say can you polka? Oh my God, it does say, can you polka? What is the one on the bottom? Jay, it's about 150 degrees in here.
Okay.
We've got the heat way overdone. Mother knows it. What's the bottom right say? Keep your eye on me. Something like that? Something your eye on me. Texting back. It was just like texting back then, Sherry. Isn't that funny? That's exactly what that was. And by the way, if you were interested in okay, wait a minute. Let me come back to you. I went crazy when I saw this. I was so excited to learn all this. Um, we're going to come back to Esther Howland in a minute. Okay, so Daniel's candies were bigger, as we saw, and they would say things like, "Married in white, you have chosen right. How long shall I have to wait? Please be considerate." I don't even know if I would understand that one. Emblazoned, right, on these little pastel wafers. Now, I found this great site, and I found it before. It wasn't the first time I've been there, called Pioneer Girl. Do you know this site? It is fantastic. And on Pioneer Girl, there's a beautiful blog on these conversation hearts, and she actually shows you how to make these candies. I'm going to come back to this one in a second. Hang on, I want to show you some other stuff first. So, on this blog, if you go to the Pioneer Girl page, it says "Keep your eye on me." I think so too, April. What a weird and kind of like passive aggressive message. It's like a demand of some sort. This is from Pioneer Girl. She's telling you how to make the actual candy. Um, and she is showing you, you can use, there's small cookie cutters, right? There's really small cookie cutters or a full-size cookie cutter like the original ones. And then she's showing you like, she stamped them by buying, she stamped these herself with like red food coloring. And she did it by, have you ever done any stamping and scrapbooking and stuff like that? So she recreated some of the older ones, and her blog is very like Little House on the Prairie oriented. So she's got some of that. Yeah, Pioneer Girl, Carrie. It's such a good site. It's like all kinds of cool old timey stuff. Um, so if you've ever done scrapbooking, you can buy like tiny, tiny stamps that are sometimes metal, like what are they called, Jay? Like they're like not die cast, the small metal stamps. There's a name for them.
Die cut.
Die
No,
cut.
no.
No, no, no. That's stencils. Die something. They're tiny metal stamps, if anybody knows. And that's what she
Like
bought.
the old newsprint
Yeah,
things?
but tiny. I used to have them for rubber stamping, like really small, almost like a broken typewriter, like that small.
Mm.
And you dip them in your die, and then obviously very carefully you stamp them on the stamp. But it would make a
Mm.
nice gift. She's a great cook on her farm, Andrea says. It's a super, super cool blog. Super cool. Like, I think people who like rug hooking and like old time stuff really are going to go for this blog. It really is cool. And I pulled some stuff off her blog too. Like she said, she's talking about the same thing about Daniel Chase's machine, and she writes something a little different. The machine was patented in 1866. We know that. Chase printed poems, tongue twisters, conundrums on his candy. So not just cute sayings. Popular for weddings, early conversation candies may even have been printed with the saying found in "these happy golden years." So taken from this one sort of collection of like witty lines. Like, so we heard about the married in white, you've chosen white, but they also had married in black, you'll wish yourself back. That one's documented. And yep, married in white. Married in pink, he will take to drink. So some of them kind of take the sign of like fortune telling. Some of these early ones. By the turn of the century, the conversation heart at Valentine's Day was like a cliche. Everybody knew what they were. And this is an excerpt, like this is an actual excerpt from 1911 of how they were used at a Boston party, not the Boston Tea Party, a Boston party. It says partners for the evening were found by means of candy motto hearts, because they were called motto hearts first. These were broken in two because they were large, and each young lady was given a piece, and the men were obliged to hunt for their match. I mean, that is so cute. So you'd have to match the broken candy hearts together to see what the phrase was, and that would be the person you'd be sitting with. As they were carefully hidden, this took some length of time and proved an excellent icebreaker. So the girls were given theirs, the guys had to hunt for theirs, and then they had to look for their match. And the silly mottos were read with laughter as couples chose their tables. So they would pair off that way. Just sounds so fun, doesn't it? Sounds so fun. So over the years, conversation hearts became smaller in size, but they gained more phrases. And almost every year, Necco puts new phrases onto the hearts. So, for example, this year, they make 10,000 pounds of hearts every day throughout the year in preparation for Valentine's Day. That's a lot. 365 days times 100,000 pounds. And so this year, the new hearts that have come out are BFF, Te Amo, and Girl Power. So those are the three new ones for this year. Cute, huh?
Mm.
And this is what I wanted to say. He could have been creepy. He could have been super creepy, the guy who had the other half of your heart, right? Oh, Linda Ann, good to see you. Married in white. I thought you said married in white. Oh my God. Still don't love it. No, I don't either. It's old-fashioned speed dating. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's just another time, isn't it? They would have had these phrases like half in their head. Anyway, I wanted to bring you back to the lozenge thing because were you wondering what happened with the lozenge story? Well, it's kind of interesting because it's not quite a dead story. So, believe it or not, this is also from Pioneer Girl. The lozenges started printing words on them too. And their sort of advertising tagline was first aid to making love, which of course it's a little bit, the phrase has shifted a little bit over time. But lozenges actually had these are lozenges, right? Are you in love? Kiss me. So they were printing lozenges with like conversation hearts, borrowing on the idea, right, for 50 years. And on Pioneer Girls, she wrote, a nickel's worth of conversation lozenges made the most freckled, bashful swain the candy kid. Were you too timid to express? And this passage, no, wait a minute. This is what Pioneer Girl says. Were you too timid to express your feelings to Luella? There was a subtle, painless way of doing it. You asked her if she liked candy. Sure. I'm going to come back to you here. You passed her a lozenge, hold on, inscribed, it's a pleasant day, and she admitted that it was, and ate the lozenge. Would she like another candy? Would she? And then you'd slip her another one. You are as fair as a lily. And she couldn't deny that either. As things warmed up, you pressed on her in succession, my thoughts are of thee, sweets to the sweet, the ivy clings to the oak, your face haunts me. May I dare? I only thee love. And then maybe finally, kiss me. These are all lozenges. And after that, you didn't need any more conversation lozenges. This part of the excerpt is from newspaper, the Evansville, Indiana Press, November 18th, 1907. And it said, after that, you didn't need any more conversation lozenges except to let her draw them from the bag at random. You could afford to laugh when she brought out one that's labeled, I love another. You knew better at this state of it. You knew better at this state of the game. Ask your ma and pa about the conversation lozenge. So for 50 years is a long time for this whole thing to persist. Carol says candy hearts are better than marshmallow peeps. I have to agree with that. I'm not a Peeps fan at all unless it's in hot cocoa. And you know they do. Speaking of Cracker Barrel, right? They do all of the flavored Peeps now. Like they have the super spicy red one is almost like a savory one. It's super hot cinnamon and cotton candy. That one is awful. Some of them are just crazy. Judy says she'd be in a diabetic coma by the end of the evening. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh my God, so funny, so true. Now I want to come back to this blog brought up for, and we are going to get back to the rugs, I promise. But I figured we're heading toward Valentine's Day too. So this when it said, one of the reasons that Valentine's Day was becoming a big thing, and Necco, the company Necco Wafer fell in with the Civil War soldiers and making these hearts, but not heart shaped yet. It made me follow this thread through to Esther Howland because it said, ever since the sort of presence or the emergence of Esther Howland creating Valentines in the United States, it was becoming a very popular. Are those typos you're finding? Oh, that's really scary. I'm going to have to fix all those because that manuscript's already gone. He's making a lot of circles for typos there. I had to look up Esther Howland, and I found an amazing article on this amazing woman from a website called AIGA Rally, like rally, like RALEIGH. And the article is by Laura LORA Stocker. And I want to show you a picture because I'm walking you into another one of the great stories. I think I'm getting a little bit obsessed about this woman. I'm going to have to chase her story more. Let me bring you to Esther. This is another woman in business, great story. So, in 1847, 19-year-old Esther Howland received an elaborate Valentine's Day card from England. She was a recent graduate of Mount Holyoke Women's Seminary and was living with her family at the time and working with her father's business. And his business was that he was the largest book and stationery store in Worcester, Massachusetts, right? So that's just outside Boston. That Valentine's Day card sent from one of her father's business associates would forever change Esther's life. This is one of these you wonder how these things began stories. So this is what happens next. This is the Victorian age, obviously. Look at Esther, right? Valentine cards are popular in Europe, but not in the United States, right? They are high dollar imports from Europe. Ornate paper, lace, ribbons, floral trims, super expensive. And most Americans cannot afford to buy them and import them. Way too costly. So they just are not available in the United States. So after receiving this Valentine, Esther got this idea, with her father having the stationery business as well, and her brother being a traveling salesman for the business. She decided, with her father's financial support and obviously contacts, she decided that she was going to try making American Valentines and creating the market here. So she imported the supplies from overseas, and she developed a dozen original samples of Valentines, and she gave them to her brother, the traveling salesman. And she hoped that when he went out on his rounds, that he would come back with, for example, a few $100s worth of orders, right? And that would be an unbelievable success. She would have been thrilled with that. He came back with over $5,000 in orders for one season. And so her business was born. I have a stupid photo to show you. This is how I imagine Esther's face would be when her brother comes home and tells her there's $5,000 worth of Valentines. Get ready. You know I have to do it, right? You know I have to do it. You know, this is one of I think my favorite movie, Meet Me in St. Louis with Judy Garland. Just that face, like $5,000 worth of, right? That's a crazy number. For example, this is what her Valentines looked like. I'm going to show you more, but this is the kind of elaborate detail that we're talking about. And the reason I love this story so much, I'm going to show you some more Valentines because those are great inspiration pieces too. And all of these would be copyright free at this point, right? Because of their age. She makes the most amazing business out of this kind of turn of luck. So she gets all of these orders, right? She's a female living at home. She just finished college, right? Her prospects probably aren't that fantastic. She's got a business. She's got an overnight business. So to fill the orders, she reaches out to her circle of friends, and she converts the guest room of the family house into the first workspace. She develops a system for copying all of the designs whereby each employee is responsible for just one or two elements. So, for example, cutting one thing or gluing one thing, right? So this is known as America's first assembly line, done in the guest bedroom at Esther's house, right? At her parents' house. So she would be waiting at the end of the assembly line while all of her girlfriends, this is an all-female business, and it remains an all-female business, all of the girls do their own thing, and then they hand her the finished card and she checks it to make sure that the quality is good. Now, again, this is all-female workforce, and this is known as America's first assembly line. That's incredible. So in addition to the assembly line, right, she grows fast, she also employs women who she allows to work at home, which is a very nice thing because not everybody's mobile. Some people have children. Some people are not super agile. She employs other women who work at home, and she prepares boxes of supplies with an accompanying design template, and she has a courier drop them off at all of these ladies' homes around Worcester, where she lives, and after a week, the driver retraces his steps and picks up all the boxes and brings them to Esther, to her workshop, so that she can give them the final inspection and then mail them or not, send them out. Esther's innovations were not just limited to her production methods. She also set out, now this is amazing, she also set out to make her card designs unique within the marketplace. She insisted that the greeting, which was usually personal and intimate in nature, be placed on the inside of the card. Now think about that, because at this point in American postal history, the postcard has your message right on the front of it, even if it's really personal. Something about loving you or not loving you, it's right on the front of the card for the whole family to see and the whole neighborhood to see and the postman to see. So she's insisting that the message be inside of the card, right? So this is a card that folds. Um, Placed inside of the card instead of on the exterior card face, which was the custom at the time. She developed a three-dimensional accordion effect by layering elements of lace with wafers of colored paper. She created a card pulley system. It was her own design whereby you pulled a string, for example, a bouquet of flowers, and it would sort of pop up and reveal a hidden message. So this is like the predecessor to like the pop-up book, like or some kind of origami masterpiece, right? This is her invention at the time. She makes all of these mechanics within the cards. Her card designs also included hinged flaps, hidden doors, and interior envelopes that could hold more secret messages, locks of hair, or even an engagement ring. I mean, isn't that something? Isn't that something? I just think this was just incredible. It's a fabulous story. I just couldn't. I have more. I have more to go. I want to see if there's any books that include books about her or that include her, because I want to read more in detail about the business. Let me look at some of these cards with you. These, for me, didn't immediately scream rug hooking designs, but I still want to show you. The Metropolitan Museum in New York owns a ton of Esther Howland's original valentines, and they are not on view. So, as with all museums, if you are really interested in the subject, you can write to them and say, I know that they're not on view. Not everything can be on view at the same time. The whole sequence I'm showing you from now forward are ones that are at the Met and not on view. So, yeah, so funny how old things are new now. It's so true. Yeah, isn't it cool, Sherry? I loved it. I just loved it. So these are all her designs that are at the Met, and they're way more colorful. Let me lift this one for you. Way more colorful than I thought, right? They have a very doily quality, but there are some kind of Victorian die cut stuff, like the full color stuff. But look at the color choices are really unusual. She's not going for the low-hanging fruit and doing the red and the yellow. She's doing some really wacky colors. And yeah, the overall feel is very Valentine to me. You could see why these would be expensive as imports, but you save the import, charges when she's making them at home and she's using the same materials. But these are all part of the collection at the Met. There are many, many more. And again, not on view. Like it might be that in the future they are, but these are the actual ones from her friends in her studio. These are ones that she held and okayed. So, like for example, this one has a little bit of the lace ripping off at the bottom. It's paper, but I mean, these are old, right? These are Victorian era cards and different colors in the background. So really, really, really cool. Some of them have this gold, right? I mean, I just thought this was so neat. I just have a couple more. Oh, this is an etching of the women making the valentine. So this would have been in the guest room of her house, right? And you see there's a man leaving. It's like there's way too many uteruses in this room. I got to get out of here. But kids helping too. And this is the last of the valentines I have to show you. But what's Esther's? Howland, Howland. Right? This belongs in like some kind of book. If anybody knows of one, let me know. I don't know, Carol. They are super beautiful and intricate. I don't know how much each of them cost. I would love to know. It wasn't in this article. So if anybody goes down the rabbit hole and you find out, can you let me know? Because I'm just really curious and knowing for myself. I just love this story. I love the story of a woman entrepreneur during this period with everything stacked against her. Coming up with a cottage industry business that turns into like a fireball. Just absolutely amazing. Let me know if you find more stuff out. I'd love to hear. So pretty though, aren't they? So I'm moving on from this subject. I love it too, but I'm going to move on to this beautiful rug that I think it was Steve Sims posted in our Facebook group, which is Rug Hooking and Symbol Punch Needle Club on Facebook. Steve posted this week, and I absolutely fell in love with it. What he wrote was, this is a rug that his mother-in-law had made. And I wrote to him right away and I said, did she do a lot of original designs? Because I don't recognize this design. It could well be a commercial design, but I haven't seen it. And he said, I don't think so. Maybe a few, but I don't think so. And I was just trying to get a feel for it because this was an extraordinary rug for me. With the dogs on one side and the sheep on the other side, I think this is a rug that would appeal to a lot of rug makers. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful rug. And I was trying to think of a subject for our trivia night that I could ask you about this rug. And I was kind of falling flat Oh, Esther's last name. Oh, I already said Howland, right? Sorry, didn't realize that was an older one. I was trying to think of a subject about Steve's mother-in-law's rug that would make sense, and all I could come up with was mother-in-laws. So, are you ready for some mother-in-law trivia? You're going, what is she going to do right now? I'm going to give you some TV trivia that has to do with mother-in-laws. So here comes. I'm going to give you a series of questions with multiple choice answers. Here comes the first one. Daisy Mae Moses appeared in 274 episodes of this classic sitcom alongside her son-in-law. Was it the Beverly Hillbillies, the Brady Bunch, or Andy Griffith? See, I like the format of this show because while you're answering the questions, I can actually take a sip of the drink. What does baby have to say? What does Babylicious have to say? She a good girl. So was it Daisy Mae Moses, the Beverly Hillbillies, the Brady Bunch, or Andy Griffith? Da, 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 da. I'm not even going to do that because Google picks up on tunes too. Did you know that? The only reason I know that is because Jocelyn kept going, oh, sing that song with this part in it, and putting the phone in my face, and it picks up the song. It's incredible. Nope, it's not Andy Griffith. It is the Beverly Hillbillies. Good job, Lisa. Good job. Oh, April got the Beverly Hillbillies. Yep, and you did too, Lisa. Good job. It is the Beverly Hillbillies. Here comes the next mother-in-law question. Which sitcom featured the mother-in-law named Clara Petrie, or Peach? I think it's Petrie. Is it Peach? I knew the answer to this, and I still can't remember the last name. Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke, or Bob Newhart. So we know those are closely intertwined shows anyway. I think it's Petrie, isn't it? Like Petri dish. So the mother-in-law called Clara Petrie. Is that Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke, or Bob Newhart? Lots of typos, huh? Oh, you're making me nervous. You're going to have to check the whole book. You know, sometimes you read something so many times that you can't read it anymore. You don't read it anymore. Not Bob Newhart, April. I'm glad for every guess. The only reason I knew this was because I've been rewatching this series. Nope, not Mary Tyler Moore. So by default, it's Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, I loved all three of them. I have not started Rhoda yet. I went through Mary Tyler Moore. I'm into Dick Van Dyke. I remember Bob Newhart, so that'll be the one I do after Rhoda, I think, in the new Bob Newhart show. And I also enjoyed that with the Darrells, right? So the answer to that was Dick Van Dyke. So here's a newer question about mother-in-laws. Marie Barone was the quintessential mother-in-law. This is an easy one, I think. Of on what 1990 sitcom? Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, or Frasier? I think you probably know that. Carol got the Dick Van Dyke. April loves all of those too. So Marie Barone was a quintessential mother-in-law on this 1990 sitcom. Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, or Frasier. I liked all those as well.
Yeah, they were all good.
I particularly liked Frasier, I think. Although Seinfeld was often hilarious.
Raymond was my favorite.
Really, Raymond was my least favorite. It was Raymond. Everybody knows that was my least favorite.
Yeah.
They were so like Roseanne, the characters to me.
I
You know,
loved
it was Everybody got that. Good job. Here comes another one. Pearl Slaghoople was a mother-in-law fond of wearing pink on what show? Green Acres, Mr. Ed, or The Flintstones? Pearl Slaghoople was a mother-in-law who was fond of wearing pink on Green Acres, Mr. Ed, or The Flintstones. Nope. Flintstones. Dave, you're right.
Yeah.
I got that one. Yeah. Dave, no, you're wrong. It's
I
not Green
know.
Acres.
I
No,
know.
so I know. I didn't guess that either. I think I also guessed Green Acres.
Flagpole?
Yeah, I mean, it's a stupid name. I guess it's a
Flintstones?
cartoon name. The answer is The Flintstones.
Huh.
Two more. On which sitcom would you find Mother Zbornak with a Z? All in the Family, Golden Girls, or Taxi? On which sitcom would you find Mother Zbornak? All in the Family, Golden Girls, or Taxi? I'm going to show this cute face. She is out cold.
Love and life.
I think Mr. Ed was in black and white. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Judy, not Taxi. David is Golden Girls. Dave, you're good.
I was gonna say
Cause
not
it,
Golden Girls.
yeah, no, I think it's Golden Girls. Cause wouldn't it have been like Roses? One of her like Polish,
Is
like a
that
Polish
the?
mom or something. Cause she was
I,
always
I
telling the
don't
Polish
know.
stories, wasn't she? Golden Girls. Yep, a lot of people are getting that one.
Huh.
All right, here comes the last of the mother-in-law. No, yep, the last of the mother-in-law trivia questions. Mrs. Gibson was the mother-in-law on what classic black and white sitcom? Mrs. Gibson. The Honeymooners, I Love Lucy, or Father Knows Best? Sharon, she is living her best life. She is the most spoiled animal in the history
She
of
sure is.
pets. She is, yeah.
She's a sweetie.
Oh my God, April, you wish you slept that well. I feel you. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It has to be menopause. It has to be. It's hot, cold, hot, cold. Throw the sheet off, freezing. Wake up, I'm free. And every wake up is like, 45 minutes. It is a nightmare for months. I keep thinking I don't have the thermostat on right. It's not. It's menopause. It's got to be. It's got also stress.
Everything.
Yeah, everything is stressful. To remember the crazy show Mary Hartman. I don't remember Mary Hartman.
I've heard of that. I never saw it.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting some answers here. Father knows best. Nope. Lisa, you got it. The Honeymooners. The answer to that was the Honeymooners. Mrs. Gibson was the mother-in-law on the Honeymooners. So we're moving on. Fun, isn't it? I love that kind of trivia. I love that. April, we're 50. You're 50, turning 51 this year. 72. I loved all the TV from that era. I'm telling you, it's like I just cannot anymore. I watch shows with the kids and stuff. They watch like The Simpsons and Steven
Family
Universe.
Guy.
Family
You guys
Guy.
went there.
Yeah, I really like Steven Universe. Family Guy's okay. I'm not big on cartoons. I never have been. It's rough. It's rough. I try to be a good sport. Mary Hartman, really? Best show ever. Okay. Weirdest show ever. Well, that sounds great.
Never saw that.
That sounds great. I expected Endora to. And that's funny you say that, Judy. Endora, one of the other questions I found was about Endora, and I don't know why I didn't include it. What show was that? I don't know why I didn't include it. That is so funny because I found this website with about maybe 20 or 30 questions about mother-in-laws, and I saw that one, and for some reason I rejected it. I don't know why. Okay, April, I won't tell anybody. One of the shows I saw recently that isn't funny, but actually it was funny, like the best thing I've seen in ages, if this is your thing, Victorian period. I forget what channel it's on, whether it's like Hulu or Netflix or whatever, but it's called, oh, Bewitched. That was definitely on. Oh my God. I think I didn't take it because I figured the name was so wacky that it was a dead giveaway. There was another one about the mother-in-law on the Addams Family, and now I can't think of the name. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is too easy. But yeah, no, I should have done that. I've been watching. There's only 2 episodes of their full length movies. It's called Enola Holmes. Endora reminded me of that. Enola, Enol, and it's about Sherlock Holmes' sister when they're both much younger, and how she has her own not consulting, but she doesn't have a consulting business because she's a woman and no one will hire her. They're not really sequential, but I watched the first one first when it came out a year or two ago. It was amazingly excellent, amazingly excellent. It's a full length movie at 2 hours, and and I watched the second one that just came out recently, and I forget the name of it, but they're both called Enola Holmes, and they are both amazing. The second one was set in like a factory, and talking about the valentines in the production line reminded me of it, but it was like set in a matchstick factory. Must have been called the matchstick. It is an amazing mystery. They both are. The second one I think I enjoyed even more, but my God, really, if you like a good Victorian mystery that's also super funny and well done, it's like the best thing I've seen in a really long time. Isn't it, Karen? It is so good that it's crazy. Just the 2 episodes. So some of you have found that. Good. I'm glad. It is so good. If you like, I'm a huge, crazy Sherlock Holmes person, huge canon person. And I don't usually like offshoots, but I love that show. I love that show. Good. I'm glad some of you are finding that. All right, let's move on. For those of you who are like, can you shut your hole and do some trivia? Show some rugs. Let's go. Let's go. All right, wait a minute. Let me find where we were at. And here we go. So, moving right along. So many of you are watching the same show. I guess we have a lot in common. All of us do, I think, right? Now, I pulled this off of our website. Tara posted this week. It's very in the style of Mondrian. She was getting going with like punch needle, and she's just freestyling it as she always does. I love this style of hooking. It looks like she's using burlap. She taped up the edge perfect, right? We don't need to go crazy with all the supplies and everything, but I thought this was very much in the style of Piet Mondrian, the Dutch artist, right? So you probably recognize the style. You know who I'm talking about when I say Mondrian, right? And I'm reading the thread too. I love seeing you chatting with each other. So if you can picture a Mondrian painting, it looks just like that, right? Which of these titles? Now this is only going to work if you know Mondrian quite well. Which of these titles? I'll put Tara's image back up there. Is not a Mondrian painting. I made up one of them. See if you can figure out which one. So, which of these is not a Mondrian painting? Subway Grid, or New York City 1, or Broadway Boogie Woogie? And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to take a sip. Subway Grid, or New York City 1, number 1, or Broadway Boogie Woogie? Oh, Melanie, you're still having them. Don't tell me that. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it. I'm just, that's the only thing that's getting me is the hot cold while I'm sleeping. It's really, really bad. It reminds me of that meme that was on Facebook like ages ago. I'll never be able to find it again. It was so funny. It was this subject of like menopause and this woman laying in a bed, and it was like she was half asleep, tossing and turning all night, and she uncovers herself and hangs her leg off the edge of the bed to be cool. And when she does, like this like monster comes up from under the bed to grab her leg, so she covers her leg back up, and then it's like it goes to the like Dante's Inferno, like the fires of hell. And so she undoes it and puts her leg over the side of the bed, and the monster comes up again and grabs her leg. She covers up, and it's infernos of. I mean, it's exactly what it's like all night. Okay, so you all are saying Carrie's saying Subway Grid. Carrie and Lisa are saying Subway Grid. Everyone else is saying Broadway Boogie Woogie. You are right with Subway Grid. I made that one up because many of his pieces had like New York titles, city titles, but specifically New York. Good call. Broadway Boogie Woogie sounds stupid, but he had a few that were called something Boogie Woogie, like different places Boogie Woogie, like Harlem Boogie Woogie. I don't know if that's one, but several Boogie Woogies. I made up Subway Grid, which I thought was quite good actually, and it stumped a few of you, which is good. This is an accurate depiction. Totally, totally. The monster coming for your leg, and then the Dante's fiery inferno. Oh man. So, okay. So, this is Ryan Richards, right? Ryan Richards posted the men are going, "Will you stop with the menopause talk?" I've already said menopause 10 times in uterus at least
At
once in this
least.
episode. I'm stopping. So, this is one of Ryan's pieces, and this is I think Ryan what you're working on now, and this is called what is it? Iowa. This is called Iowa Winter, I think, right? And when you posted this, it said day 7. I think you might have posted since then, but I'm saving finished pieces for gallery night. Karen, I do know that Mondrian's paintings were displayed upside down. One of them for 59 years. I read that. I read that online somewhere, and I thought, well, that's very likely to happen, isn't it? Because they are, um,
They
yeah.
didn't know it
I mean, they're
was.
completely abstract.
Well,
I mean, for him, I mean, I would guess if I were Mondrian, I mean, I would guess that I had an idea. When you have something like that, even if it's a rug and it's abstract or flowers, you do have a feel for what way is the right side up. But it doesn't mean that the next person has that same feel, right?
yeah.
It's like it's very subjective, right? Like I have a bunch of
This,
yeah, the jigsaw one from Heritage, the broken mosaic stained
yeah.
glass one, that could go anyway.
Yeah.
I hang it a certain way depending on what my eye says, but your eye might say something different. And it's so funny that even happened. That was just kind of an outrage. And I mean, I know a lot about museums because my sister works at the British Art Center at Yale. So I won't even tell those stories, but there's a lot of monkey business that goes on at museums and universities, right? So, Ryan, this is what you're working on now. And we know Ryan for, in our group, in our Facebook group, Rug Cooking and Punch, it's still 120 degrees in here, down from 150. We know Ryan from his epic scale vintage patterns, and you often collect patterns, your holy grails that you find online, and then you start punching them, and you sometimes do videos for us, and it's always exciting. But Ryan does these epic scale 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot. Sounds like a Harry Belafonte song, but you know. And he posts them in our Facebook group. So this is a very Ryan specific question. And if you're not in our Facebook group, I'm sorry about this, but you can at least make a guess, right? Which of these is not a pattern that Ryan has punched? Is it Big Sur or Chesapeake Bay or New England Autumn? Which of the which of these is not a pattern that Ryan has punched? Big Sur or Chesapeake Bay or New England Autumn? It's actually too cold in here now. Seriously. Arctic
I
wind.
told you.
Don't put the heat on though. We got to live in the middle.
Okay.
So Ryan, obviously you can't, if you're on, you can't answer this. I'm going to take a sip here. Cat's Gallery. Carrie and Sharon, you're right. You are close watchers of Ryan. I think we're Shannon too. Absolutely right. I made up Chesapeake Bay. It sounds good though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He recently did Big Sur, and I think
saw that.
last year he did New England Autumn.
Okay.
So, good job. That was a very Facebook group specific question, but you all killed it. Nobody guessed wrong on that one. No shame if you had, right? Because I was trying to make it challenging. Now, Sonia Shrivers has recently been posting the most beautiful work, right? This was her first piece ever, the butterflies, and now she's working on a second piece, and she posted it in the group. Does Ryan only punch? Sharon, I think so. He was on earlier. Maybe the uterus talk got him, but
He does tufting.
he does
right?
tufting. Yeah, he does the
Yeah.
tufting. Well, I don't know if I would call it.
He does. I don't think
I
he
say
tufts.
punch, but like he uses the vintage tools. I think he uses. The one he hates, I think, is the Rumpelstiltskin. I forget the one that he loves. Um, it's in the first book that's coming out on June 1st, and he'll tell us. But it is he does. I think
It's the speed tufter, isn't it?
I don't know if he does the speed tufter all the time, because I know on the ones last year he was using vintage punch tools that are like a speed tufter, but they don't plug in.
Yeah.
They're like
He just
handheld.
works fast.
Yeah, he's incredibly fast. So maybe he'll come back and answer those questions for us. It's being naughty. So anyway, Sonia has been she's on her second piece now, which was just posted, I think, today in the Facebook group. So I want to save that for gallery night, because she's well on her way and it's coming out great. But she finished this piece with the butterflies. So looking at this piece, I wanted to ask you some true or false questions about butterflies. I'm going to read you 3 statements about butterflies, and you tell me if they're true or false. First one, butterflies cannot fly if they're cold. True or false? Rug crafters. Thank you, Ryan. He uses rug crafter's speed tufting tool. Ryan, does that
Speed
plug
tufting,
in?
yeah.
Does
I
it
don't-
plug into like a socket?
I
No?
don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. True. Okay, you're all saying true. That is absolutely true. Good job. Second butterfly question. Butterflies' wings are actually transparent. True or false? Marion, good to see you. Oh, she's such a good girl. This is her favorite toy. It's like a real antler. Sometimes she finds things in the woods, you know. I think she found that one. Airplanes don't fly with icy wings. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. That makes a lot of sense. Dave, I think you're saying true. Judy's saying true to the second one. Also true. Butterfly wings are actually transparent. Still true. Here comes the third and last butterfly question. Butterflies taste with their feet. True or false? So far, you're all doing incredibly well. Maybe the questions are just too easy, huh? Butterflies taste with their feet. True or false? And I'm not sure. True, Melanie. Also true. So all three were true. So butterflies can't fly if they're cold. Butterfly wings are actually transparent, and butterflies can taste with their feet. Ooh, Dave, the first one you got wrong tonight. You've been killing it. You've been killing it in a huge way. All true. So interesting, right? I couldn't think of any false statements about butterflies. So those are all true. Here we come to our next rug. What will it tell us? Oh boy. This is obviously Madonna. This is a rug by Lucia Triani. This is punched, and she's using. I never know what the proper term is. I always say channel punched, but I made that term up, and that is not a term. But the back side, the wrong side of your punching, right? The working side of your punching. She's using that as the right side, which is very popular to do, and this is absolutely up to you what side you prefer. So this is obviously, it is beautiful. This is obviously Madonna. Now, I have some trivia questions about Madonna. April, you might do well here. I think all of us are going to do well here. I have to say I also was not a huge fan of Madonna growing up. I like her more now that I'm older. I think it's a bit nostalgic. But when I was growing up, I really didn't care one way or the other. She was no Roger Whittaker, we'll put it that way. So, let me ask you some trivia questions about Madonna. So, beautiful rug. First question, what was the name of Madonna's rock band before she became famous? Was it 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, or About Last Night? So you'll also realize, I think, that those are all names of movies. But 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, About Last Night, which of those four was the name of a rock band before she was just Madonna and she was quite famous? At this point in my life, I think she's probably, how old do you think Madonna is now? Probably mid. Let me look it up while you're guessing. I mean, she's definitely older than I am because when she was singing, not About Last Night, when she was singing those songs, they were quite. I was interested in them because they were quite naughty. But she must have been older than me because she obviously had different experiences than I had had. Let's see, Madonna. Let's see what her age is. Carrie, you are right. You are right. God, she's 64. God, she looks gorgeous. She's just incredibly gorgeous, isn't she? It's not coming in focus. I mean, her body is just, I'm stopping. She looks amazing in her 60s. Yeah, I thought she was like 5 years older than me. Of course she's not, right? She'd done a lot when I was, yeah. So, so it was Breakfast Club. She, in her band called the Breakfast Club, just Breakfast Club, she sang, she played the drums, she played the guitar. And I didn't know that. I didn't realize that she was actually musical. I knew that she was a dancer, but I didn't know she had musical talent. I think she's a great singer. I think she's a great personality, but I didn't realize that she had like musical talent in terms of playing. So that was really surprising. So Breakfast Club is the right answer. Second question, where did Madonna work when she first moved to New York City? Was it Saks Fifth Avenue, Macy's, Hooters, or Dunkin' Donuts? She was gorgeous. Is she not gorgeous anymore? You said past tense, Carrie. Has she lost the gorgeousness? While you answer that question, I'm going to look. I don't see any not gorgeous photos. I've seen some really naughty books on her, and I like really naughty stuff, I have to say. But this was over the top, and it was like there was text in there that was really, I don't want to say inappropriate. That's so Puritan, isn't it? But really not nice. Oh, now see, if that's Madonna, then she's had something different happen. So I'm not sure anymore. I have to guess the not obvious, like Dunkin' Donuts. Carrie said Saks. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking. Because I'm looking at some that don't look like her anymore. And she was gorgeous. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Things have changed. Things have changed. She was looking gorgeous. I would have just rolled along looking that. Oh, my God. Absolutely. I didn't know that. That is over the top. I'm just never doing that. I'm never doing that. I would be so scared if I looked at myself in the mirror
Downhill, huh?
and looked, what?
Downhill?
Oh, have you looked her up lately?
No.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, I would be so scared if I looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't look like myself. That is one of my reoccurring nightmares, that I look in the mirror and it's like I see the devil in my eyes or something. Wow, she ruined her face big time. She's, yeah, totally. Yeah, tell it like it is, right? No, absolutely. She looks rotten. The answer is Dunkin' Donuts. And she said she got fired from Dunkin' Donuts. Um, this is weird, for squirting the jelly donuts all over the customers. Maybe this is foreshadowing for what will happen later in those books I was telling you about. But I worked at Dunkin' Donuts when I was in high school, and I have to admit I never once accidentally squirted anybody with anything. Certainly not customers with jelly donuts. We did used to, and I don't, and this was years ago. I mean, because I'm 50, right? And I was in my teens when I worked there. They had those machines then that they were like little flat machines like this big with two spigots coming out of them, metal ones that turned, and you would put the bag of filling, whether it was Bavarian cream or jelly or whatever, on there, chocolate cream, whatever. And you put the bag on there, and then you'd literally push it in, and you push in two donuts at once, so one in each hand, push it in, and and it would fill the donut, right? So of course, in those days, we would put our mouth on the spigot, obviously pre-COVID by decades, put our mouth on the spigot, and jam would go directly into our mouths. I'm sure nobody. Am I sure? Am I sure nobody does that now?
No, of course they do.
Of course they do.
Kids
I
are
still go to
kids.
Dunkin' Donuts every day.
Yeah.
So it was Dunkin'. I have no idea how she had these kinds of accidents with jelly, but we're going to leave that alone. Last Madonna question. What was Madonna's first hit single? Was it Holiday? Was it Like a Virgin? Was it Borderline? Or was it Lucky Star? While you answer that, I'm just going to look at pictures of Madonna again really quick.
Like a Virgin's the only one I know.
Oh my.
Nice.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. I'll show you. Let me get.
Oh man. That's
That is shocking.
yeah.
That
Not
is
even her.
No, that's not her at all.
Wow.
I mean, you don't. When you're in your 60s, you don't have to look like you're 16, right? You could become elegant and not just
Right.
like a gargoyle hanging off of Notre Dame. Okay, so people are saying Lucky Star. It is not Lucky Star. I loved Lucky Star. I think Borderline was my favorite song from that era. The answer is Holiday.
Hmm.
And I got that one right when I played myself. It hit number 16 on the Billboard chart. So interesting, right? Not one of her more famous ones after, but at that time, Holiday is the right answer. It's sad that she would feel pressure to do that. I would, yeah, Judy, it is super sad. But I would also say I think she's had a pretty good ego for most of her life. And yeah, I don't know. She was so beautiful. And then she went to that extreme fitness thing, and that at least was positive. Like becoming extremely fit is at least positive, right? You can bounce whatever, like a dollar bill off of her abdomen. But this is something different, right? This is something crazy. Borderline is your next guess. Nope. What was it? Holiday. That was an early one. And I only guessed that one because it was a super early one. So 16 on the chart. So let's move on from Madonna, as much fun as we have had here. And let's go to our next rug. Melanie, you were working on this beautiful rug. This went out with Patreon members, so Patreon members are going to know the answer to this right off the bat. This is one of the Alice Butler rugs. And I think a lot of us love the Alice Butler rugs, and I've done so much with her, and I will continue to. In fact, I'm just putting a date on the calendar in New Canaan, where I was a couple of weeks ago. I'm going again in April, the beginning of April, to do an Alice Butler presentation, which will be open to the public. So if you're around, it'll be great. And then we're going to hook or punch Alice Butler patterns after that. So Melanie was working on this Alice Butler pattern. And if you are not familiar with the group, this is going to be a guess for you. But the question is, which of the Alice Butler patterns is this? Melanie finished this, and I'm going to show the finished one on gallery night, but I didn't want to do a spoiler for it yet. So is this flowering peach tree, daisies, or pine tree with sun? What do you think? Is it flowering peach tree, daisies, or pine tree with sun? What do you think? You hear all that noise out there? It's like the world is ending.
There's a link for Patreon down below.
Jay's just reminding me there's a link for Patreon down below. It is a lot of fun getting it together on these nights, and I appreciate everybody who, and days, right? Mondays and Wednesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time. Friday night cocktail night. So those are our coffee times in the day, cocktail time at night. Yep, and also please subscribe. We really appreciate your support. Subscribing helps make the channel visible to other people, and that helps me a lot. Because while these videos are not huge videos in terms of being watched, some of mine are, and those are monetized, and that's how I make a big part of my income to keep all this racket going, right? Flowering peach tree, you're right. FPT, absolutely, you're right, Marion. It is flowering peach tree. It looks, I was struggling for other ones that would be sort of possibly believable. Melanie, you did an amazing job because you are finished now, but you did an amazing job with that piece. I absolutely love it. Lisa, I'm glad you said that because it's a different guess. I thought the question was too easy. Could have easily been pine tree with sun, but it was flowering peach tree. So, so, so pretty. Now, here's our next question, and this might be an easy one. I don't know. This is a Grace Colette rug that I showed you a while ago when I went to Montpelier, right, for the rug show there. And it bears some text on it from a song. And the text goes like this: How dear to my heart are the scenes of childhood. And maybe you know this text, or maybe you remember this episode on Coffee Time. does this does this text come from it was originally a poem and then a song. Is this The Old Oaken Bucket by Samuel Woodworth? Is this I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth? Or is this Evangeline by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow? Isn't it incredible how many poets and writers have the word worth in their surname?
Yeah.
It's kind of silly. So, what is this text taken from? The Old Oaken Bucket by Samuel Woodworth, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. You could do A, B, and C. Or Evangeline by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Do you have a guess?
No. I had another comment, but I'll keep it to myself.
Okay. Keeping it to yourself.
My parents have a book right now.
Yeah.
By Smith Wigglesworth or Wigglesworth.
Wigglesworth.
Smith Wigglesworth.
Is it a children's book?
No.
Yes, Melanie, you're right. It is The Old Oaken Bucket. Well done. By Samuel Woodworth. Well done. Great job. So here is the next rug and our next conversation. So this is obviously the Eiffel Tower, also by Sharon Smith. Remember I used Purple Rain at the beginning by Sharon Smith? This is also by Sharon Smith. Now, I found some interesting information out on, like the History Channel has a website called history.com. So History Channel has history.com. And I was reading about the Eiffel Tower on history.com. And it said the Eiffel Tower was in fashionable Paris. And even the Eiffel Tower had to keep up with stylish trends. So over the decades, the Iron Lady, as it was known, changed her looks with the application of a spectrum of paint colors. Did you know that the Eiffel Tower was painted many times? Every 7 years, painters apply 60 tons of paint to the tower. It's almost as many conversation hearts, right? 60 tons of paint to the tower to keep her looking young. Do you think of the Eiffel Tower as a female? I distinctly think of it as a male. It might be the shape.
Not a female.
No, not a female. Every 7 years, painters apply 60 tons. The tower is painted in 3 shades, progressively lighter in elevation. I did not know that. In order to augment the structure's silhouette against the canvas of the Parisian sky. So in other words, and I didn't know this at all, and I've been on it many times, it goes from dark to light, right? And I guess the higher up it goes, it feels like it's lighter because it's closer to the sun and it's brighter up there. So cool. I didn't know this at all. So my question for you is, knowing that it has been painted, right, starting at the beginning, which color, this is going to be a guess, isn't it? Which color was never used to paint the Eiffel Tower? Midnight blue, Venetian red, or yellow orange? Which color was never used to paint the Eiffel Tower? Midnight blue, Venetian red, or yellow orange? Somebody's dreaming in their sleep
Oh,
here.
she's
She's
lovely.
kicking.
Is she
She's kicking me with those little
chasing the
hind
rabbits?
legs, chasing the rabbits. She's softy.
Yeah.
Venetian red, Carrie says. Yellow orange, Judy says.
Say yellow orange.
I have to say you're both wrong. It's
Really?
midnight blue. Isn't that amazing? Let me see if I have a picture of it. Yeah, midnight blue is the only color. No, I didn't put a picture of it in there. Can you pull up on my phone paint pick colors, the Eiffel Tower? I'll hold it up in the thing. Yeah, blue is the only one that it was not. Isn't that absolutely crazy? They were all within the same spectrum of colors. So yellow, orange, red, rust, brown. It was painted like shades of brown over the years. So it was painted Venetian red in when it went up from 1887 to 1888. So for 1 year it was Venetian red. Paint was applied in the workshop before the parts were assembled. So the Venetian red was already on it. Perhaps Madonna and the Eiffel Tower go to the same surgeon, Dave said. Absolutely. Lots of facelifts over the years. That's it. That's exactly what I was looking for. So let me pull this up. I'm going to hold it up for you on my phone, and hopefully you can see it. Yep. There's a lot of other garbage, in here, but just to look at the colors. They're all kind of the spectrum of red. This is the yellow orange right here, and this is the Venetian red. And as time goes, the yellow orange is really bright, and then as we go on, we come to like the color it is now, which is like not a black, but like a gray. But isn't that funny? They are kind of all the same spectrum, but the early ones are quite bright. You're right, Karen. The blue would be super dangerous for airplanes. It would have to be a bright color. Didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true because there's a lot of like small planes flying over Paris. Interesting. And like tourist stuff. So Venetian red, yeah. And then yellow orange, a coat of 5 colors is painted, blah, blah, blah. 7-year cycle. So yellow orange was between was 1892 to 1899 was the yellow orange. I ate coq au vin at the Eiffel Tower on my 50th birthday. Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. My daughter Jocelyn obsesses about going to the restaurant on the Eiffel Tower, right? That's like in the middle there. So I think I see a girls' vacation, just her and I at the Champs-Élysées, and I like to go to Montmartre to eat. When I go to Paris, I have got to have snails, escargot. I've got to have it. I've got to have it at every meal, and steak tartare. That's what I order at every restaurant, every part of the day, except in the morning when I order croque madame. I sound like such a snob. I always work like a dog waitressing to be able to make these trips to Paris. It wasn't like I had the money. I worked like a dog at Dunkin' Donuts and waitressing. Oh, Carol, I bet that was a great memory. What a great place to spend your 50th. I'm going to have to wait 9 years to do something great like that. Maybe I'll spend my 60th having coq au vin there. That's a great inspiration. I would super, super, super love that. Aw. All right, let's go to our next one before we get. Oh, boy. Okay, hang on. We're good. We're good. Okay, here we go. So this is by my good friend Mary Jo Taylor, and her company is Northwest Folk Design. Now I talk about her a lot, and I have done a full show on her, and I talk about her often. Do you remember with Mary Jo? She lives in the Pacific Northwest, and she does all of the colors that she dyes, that she creates for her rugs, are based on plants and animals and things that live in that part of the country, things that she sees around her in the Pacific Northwest. So, like for example, one of her colors that she told me about is banana slug, right? So things that she sees around her are what she names her colors after. They are location dependent. So knowing that, which color, now this is going to be kind of a geography question. She names all of her colors. Which of these, knowing that all of her things are named after animals and plants that are in that immediate area, which of these birds is not one of Mary Jo's colors? Barn owl, tree creeper, sorry, I stumbled on that, tree creeper, or American robin. Barn owl, tree creeper, that's a bit of a tongue twister, or American robin. Which one would not be in the Pacific Northwest and therefore not be one of Mary Jo's colors? And while you're guessing, I'm going to show you a close-up that she sent me of that piece. And that piece is called, I should have said, Foul Weather Inn. So this is her take on a tavern sign. Foul, as in the birds, weather inn. And this is a beautiful close-up. Yes, Carrie, you're right. Right off the bat, tree creeper, you're absolutely right. Tree creepers are native to Western Europe, Japan, and India. So this would not be a bird found in the Pacific Northwest. Fantastic. Now here comes a funny question. This is an antique horse rug that I found on a website called Vinterior, Vinterior Bordeaux. It's a European site, Vinterior Bordeaux. This is available now on that site for €803. It's a beautiful antique rug of a horse, and it got me thinking about horses and a possible horse question for you. So for horsey people out there, this is, and I apologize if this brings up bad feelings because I don't necessarily agree with horse racing. I used to go to the dog races a lot when I was younger. That was probably really naughty too. But in any case, this is a horse racing question, right? We are all riders in our family except me. In fact, Jocelyn couldn't go today because it was too cold. You know, I guess they just don't ride when it's this cold because it's like maybe dangerous or whatever. Racehorses. Here comes the question. Which of these is not a winning racehorse? Now, I know I have some buddies who are great horsey people and would know the answer to this question. I don't know if they watch the show. I know they're in our group. Which of these is not a winning racehorse? Zippy Chippy. They always have hilarious names. Pepper's Pride or Black Caviar. Now, if you know about racing, you follow racing, you're going to know the answer to this because it's a joke. Which one is not a winning horse? Zippy Chippy, Pepper's Pride, or Black Caviar? Jay, what's your guess?
Black Caviar.
Okay. I'm waiting to see what some guesses are here. Carrie, are you a horse race person? Marion, are you a horse race person? You both got the answer right.
What is that?
Zippy Chippy.
Zippy Chippy.
Zippy Chippy. So this was so funny when I looked it up. So just to follow through on the rest of it, Zippy Chippy is the right answer. Zippy Chippy is not a winner. So Black Caviar is an Australian horse, and he had 25 wins. Wow. That's a lot. Pepper's Pride is a U.S. horse. He had 19 wins. Zippy Chippy is known as the losingest racehorse of all time. Zippy Chippy is a thoroughbred, and he's a beloved horse. I mean, he's gone now, but he was a beloved horse. He's a thoroughbred, winless in 100 races. They kept putting him in, and he kept losing. I've been to the horse races. That's about it. They are exciting, I have to say. It is exciting. Zippy Chippy is not. He's the losingest horse of all time. That's the way that it's phrased. Let me show you a picture of Zippy Chippy because he looks so cute. He was a beloved horse by all accounts. He's from Farmington, New York. Here's Zippy Chippy. Beautiful horse, poor Zippy. Yeah, I mean, it's like it was kind of inexplicable, I guess. Why did he lose so badly every time, Zippy Chippy? And why did they keep putting him in? So he's from Farmington, New York, and he died at the age of 31. So Zippy Chippy was a beloved horse, a beloved horse. He was a well-cared-for horse. He was a great character. He was a beloved horse, but he was not a winner. You know, do you have to be a winner in this life, right? Even if you're Zippy Chippy. But there he is right there looking like a little sweetheart. Zippy Chippy sounds like the name of a rug hooking squirrel pattern. It does, Carol. It'd be great to make a pattern, Marion. It is a bit heartbreaking. He has that little bit of I'm making a Sherlock Holmes reference here. He has a little bit of that silver blaze, that white on the top of his head. Are any of you Sherlock Holmes people that I can geek out with from time to time? Or Chipmunk, absolutely. You know, one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes stories about a horse called Silver Blaze. I won't tell what happens, that they figure out which horse Silver Blaze is because he's like stolen, because that would be a spoiler alert, but it's one of the great stories. Poor old Zippy Chippy. So now I'm looking at this rug, and this rug reminded me, this rug I found for sale on Etsy, and it's sold by page, a seller called Collectibles, and that's, you know how collectibles can be spelled in two different ways? It's Colecct, so collectibles. Judy, great. Judy, if you have a favorite Sherlock Holmes story, tell me which one it is. Um, I'm going to think about what my favorite one and is. And then I'm going to tell you. Oh, there's so many. I love the Dancing Men. Oh, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. Um, Collectibles by Jen H. This is being sold on Etsy. This is a punch rug. So this is easily a 1960s, 1970s rug. This is being sold on Etsy for $1,000. And I don't like to be a jerk on live anything, but this is not $1,000 rug. I can tell you that for sure. This is not an antique rug. It's a late 20th century rug. It is lovely and it's beautifully done, but it's not $1,000 rug. But it is on Etsy. If you feel $1,000 great about it, then yeah, then all you. But you know what? You know what song this rug reminded me of? Any novice would bet on Chippy. Absolutely. This reminded me of the song Down by the Old Mill Stream. And you all know this song, right? Because this is another one that, when we had the kind of record player that you stacked up the records. Did you have this too? My dad was in charge of the record player, just like everything in the car, the 8-track. You could not only not touch them, you couldn't touch the sleeve or take like the lyrics out unless the record wasn't in it, because he would assume that I would scratch it, like by accident, that 100% I would scratch it. I'd never scratched anything, but he would think that I would. So he would take out the records and he would stack them, right? And incredibly, I don't know how the machine was this smart, but the record player would drop them one by one and play them, right? So it was like, it was like a Spotify list. It would just keep going. Judy says, oh gosh, so many. I think my dad's favorite was a Speckled Band. That is such a good one. That is such a good one. I'm trying to think of the name of the one. Copper Beaches. I think that's my favorite one. That is really good. I mean, I love Sherlock Holmes, but only when Jeremy Brett plays him, right? Except for Enola Holmes, right? That's like okay, because it's a different age. Jeremy Brett, all the way, no question. So anyway, it reminded me of the song, The Old Mill Stream. And I want to know if you know this song, and I guess you do. Did you ever hear this version of it? Because my dad made me sing it like this, where he would go like, I'd go down by the old, and he'd go, not the new, but the old mill stream, not the river, but the stream, where I first, not the second, but the first, met you, not me, but you. Did you do that? I mean, is that a thing, or is that, I'm just wondering if he made that up, because I remember that now that he's been gone for years, and I think, was that a thing, or was that one of these crazy things that he made up, like telling me to pull my beach towel away from the lake because the tide was coming in, and then me doing it and people laughing? I'm wondering if it's one of those. My question for you about the song Down by the Old Mill Stream, it was a very popular song, right, in the early and middle 20th century. Who did not record that song? Was it Glenn Miller, Mitch Miller, or Bing Crosby? Do you know the answer? Who did not record Old Mill Stream? Glenn Miller, Mitch Miller, Bing Crosby. No idea. No, not your genre. My mom used to sing. Lorraine, your mom used to sing it like that with the extra lyrics, like a duet? I mean, that is so cute. If I listen to the whole song, because I can't remember all the lyrics, but if I listen to the whole song without that, I bet, because I was forced to do it so many times, I bet that I would just like parrot the words back. Like they're just embedded in me, right? So funny. So I miss him so much. So Candace says, like barbershop quartet style. Absolutely. There is a barbershop quartet that recorded this song too. I forget what they were called. You're right, Candace. It is Glenn Miller, who weirdly is not related to Mitch Miller. Mitch Miller did record it, and Bing Crosby did record it. So Glenn Miller is the right answer. He did not record it. A lot of people recorded it, but interesting. Okay, Lorraine, good. I'm glad to know that. I'm glad I have all these memories of things, like these fleeting things that I remember from being a kid. And I'm not even sure about half of them, you know? So I'm glad I didn't dream that, and I'm glad I know that he didn't make that up, right? He was not a lyricist, that's for sure, my dad. Now, this is a beautiful rug by Barbara Mary. Now, we saw this recently. It was on Facebook. Somebody bought it on Facebook. I think it was about gosh, I don't know, maybe 500, 700, something like that. There were a bunch of Barbara Marys that appeared on Facebook Marketplace, and I remarked on them on our page, and they all were sold. And now this one is being resold on Etsy at $12.50. I think it's still a good price for it, $12.50. It's just that it was very recently on Facebook Marketplace, and that always is a stab in the heart. But Barbara Mary, who always signed her rugs BEM, very well known, very well known. And becoming more well known, right? She appeared in Rug Cooking Magazine, and I'm talking about her a lot on this show. So I think I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think she will become better and better known in the future. I'm giving you a trivia question about songs that have, we're talking about music still, songs that have a rainbow in them. So, for example, most of my music is musical theater, right? As I was a cabaret singer years ago. I love musical theater. That's my genre. What show is this? I'm going to tell you the title of a song, and you tell me what musical is the show, is the name from. The name of the song is Rainbow High. Is it from the musical Finian's Rainbow, or Evita, or Brigadoon? What do you think? The name of the song is Rainbow High. And I'm going to put on Barbara Mary's rug again because that is so pretty. Is there any lip tap over there? Okay. Maybe I'll have that one over there. Thank you. This lady's dead asleep, huh? She's like in a stupor.
Till she eats and sleeps.
So what do you think about Rainbow High? Do you think it comes from which musical? Finian's Rainbow, Evita, or Brigadoon? Dave, are you chiming in for this? I thought you were up on your musicals here. Putting you on the spot. No, it has to be, well, maybe they did it in that. It has to be either Finian's Rainbow, Evita, or Brigadoon. It's one of those three. Is High School Musical actually like a musical? It's not like Glee, like it's a TV show. Is it kind of like that?
I think so.
Dave, you're right. It is Evita. Evita is one of my absolute favorites. There is a rainbow song in Finian's Rainbow, and it's called Look to the Rainbow. So, Candace, very good. So that was that. And I put in Brigadoon as a trick. There are no rainbow songs in Brigadoon. But in Evita, it's the song that goes something like, I come from the people, they need to adore me, so Christian Dior me. It's a crazy song, and she's mad in it. She's crazy in it. Oh, you were joking. See, I don't get that reference. I've heard of it, but I didn't quite get that reference. I love Evita, and I love Brigadoon. And it had a lot, actually Brigadoon for me didn't have a lot of great songs. It had The Heather on the Hill, and it had almost like Being in Love, but for me all the others were kind of a wash. Finian's Rainbow was a different story. I really liked that score. But the answer was Evita. Well done. All right, let me run forward here. As usual, my mouth is running way too much. Oh, let me pull this a little bit open for you. I was struggling with this because I used this as the thumbnail. You knew she was joking, Mary, and I'm such a dud. I missed it. I missed it. So this reminded me of paint swatches, like at the hardware store. It has a beautiful hit or miss center. This is an antique rug. I found this on a website called Lavender Oriental Carpet. There is no price, so you can guess that if you inquire, it's probably going to be a shocking price, right? Just guessing. But this reminded me of paint swatches, which got me thinking about colors of paint. So I went down a mind rabbit hole here, and I started thinking about unusual colors of paint. And I was remembering back to when I used to be a tour guide, and I visited Mount Vernon. I went there pretty much every week with the Smithsonian groups, the student groups, and teacher groups. And and I remember the paint in the dining room of Mount Vernon and in Washington's day. What he chose was a very unusual color of green. And the reason he chose it was because it was known to be a very expensive color at that time, and it was also believed to be a non-fading color. So this might be a guess question for you, unless you're very familiar with George Washington history, or you've been to Mount Vernon. I'll never forget this because I haven't been there for years, but it's such a striking color. Is your guess what color of paint am I talking about that is in the dining room of Mount Vernon, George Washington's house? This is a very specific question. Is it verdigris green? I'm getting congested. Verdigris green, eau de Nil, which means Nile, right? Like Nile green or silk green. These are three very old colors of paint. Oh, is that one of your favorite colors, Candace? You got me wanting to watch High School Musical now. Is it like more than one? Is it more than one thing to watch, or is it just
It's a
one thing to?
series.
It's a
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm bound to like it because I'm crazy about Glee. Bound to like it. So, what do you think? Do you think it's verdigris green, tongue twister again, eau de Nil, or silk green? And just to give you an idea, this is a bit of a joke too. If you're going eau de Nil, I can't even picture that. This is the color eau de Nil. I think this is Tippi Hedren, right? Being attacked by birds in Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. The color that she's wearing is eau de Nil. And so while you're making your guesses, A, verdigris green. You're right, Marion. This is verdigris green. So you can see it's very different than eau de Nil. And it's very different than silk green, too, which is more like eau de Nil, very pastel. Not really pastel, more neutral, very light. So this is verdigris green, and it's actually made with verdigris. I like the sound of eau de Nil too. Eau de Nile. It's like Nile green, right? Like Cushing Nile green. It's just like that color. It's not like any other color. You can't mix it. If I want that color, I have to use the Cushing packet. But this is verdigris green, and that is the right answer. I think it's a really beautiful shade. I was just in shock when I walked in this room because you're made to think that back in the day people preferred light colors, and it's not true. They preferred expensive colors, right? So now this is a beautiful rug I pulled up on a website called Woodward Weave Rugs. This is for sale now for $3,500. It is a lovely rug. This is a question for quilters, um, or for anybody. Make a guess, right? Which of these classic quilt blocks bears absolutely no resemblance to this rug? Log cabin, Dutchman's puzzle, or attic windows? Which quilt block bears no resemblance to the design on this rug? Log cabin, attic windows, Dutchman's puzzle. Now that I'm looking at it, I should have also thrown in spools, right? Spools is a newer quilt block, but you can see this looks like a spool pattern too. That isn't one of the choices. I just thought of that. But do you think which one has no resemblance to it? Log cabin, attic windows, Dutchman's puzzle. I know there's a lot of quilters out there. You're going to know the answer to this. I feel like I have to blow my nose. And I feel like it's cold. Oh, you live about an hour from there, Marion. I love that area. I used to work for the Smithsonian. I was a tour guide then, and I sometimes took groups of students, but I more often took groups of teachers to teach teachers about the history that we were looking at. And that really was my forte because history was my forte when I was a tour guide. It is Dutchman's puzzle. It is, Judy. Dutchman's puzzle is like definitely a windmill. It's a triangle-driven block. So the right answer is Dutchman puzzle because the attic windows is more sort of three-dimensional, like trompe l'oeil looking. It looks more three-dimensional, and this is log cabin. So those two are quite similar. I could have put in spools. I could have put in courthouse steps. There's a few that I could have put in, but these work. In Dutchman's puzzle is the right answer. Great job. We're going back to a president's question, right? So put your mind into presidents. This isn't even a multiple choice. This is a beautiful rug that I found on Etsy on the page Primitive Spirit. Primitive Spirit. It's called Monticello, and this is for sale on Etsy. And your question is, which president had the home that was called Monticello? And I feel that this is such an easy question, I can't possibly give a multiple choice, right? I can't possibly. And I won't hang on there for too long in case it's not intuitive. Maybe it's the tour guide in me that I did this so much. Oh, Candace, you sent me a nice message. I'm going to have to read that. Which president lived at Monticello? So we just handled Mount Vernon, just briefly. Two great places to go. Oh, I love doing presidents' houses and things like that. I shouldn't blow my nose on live, though, should I? Yes, Thomas Jefferson. Good job. Good job. And it's not that far from you anyway still, right, Candace? Excellent. Good job. Carrie, perfect. Now this is a little bit harder. this is a rug that I found. This was, remember Laura Fisher? She passed away and her rugs went to auction, and I did quite a few series of the auction results so that we could all kind of get a baseline for what these rugs were worth. Karen says, my father in law was a restoration architect and he worked on Monticello. Oh, that is interesting, Karen. That must have been such a privilege. Beautiful historic house. Now, this was on the Laura Fisher website, and of course she passed away, and the store is not functioning anymore. But the website still stands, and it's good that it does because it is kind of a testament to these rugs and quilts that she collected. So this one was available on her site during her life when the business was thriving, and it is called. Can I tell you? Yes, I can. Just making sure it's not part of the question. This is called Castles in Spain. So this was for sale. It's a commercial pattern. Um, I've talked about this on past coffee times. This is digging deep. This was for sale on Laura's website for 2,750. That is so high for this commercial pattern. This was an early 20th century pattern by which rug making company? Heirloom, Columbia, or Aunt Lydia? So of course you can guess, right? A guess is going to work too. I'm going to kind of race now because I shot my mouth off too much and now it's late. Big surprise. The animal is still sleeping. So this pattern that is called Castles in Spain is very unusual for this time. Very lush border. Border for me really has no relationship to the subject. So that's one of the reasons. Although I'm interested in this pattern because it's historic and I know who the maker is. And it's one of my favorites. That's a great guess, Judy, but it's not Columbia. It seems like it would be, right? Because they did such a vast and varied array of different subjects. But in this case, it is heirloom. This was a Louis Zeiser pattern from Providence, Castles in Spain, right? So this is found in the heirloom catalog. Not an intuitive question by any means. Now, here is a kind of quick one. I found this cute rug, another commercial pattern, on J and symbol D Oriental Rugs, $974. That is a lot. This made me think about the spinning wheel. Where and when did the spinning wheel originate? So give me your best guess here. Choose A, B, or C. Where did the spinning wheel originate? Is it A, in India between 500 and 1000 AD? Is it B, in England in the 8th century? Is it C, in Ireland in the 14th century? So I'll say that again. Where did the spinning wheel originate? Is it A, in India between 500 and 1000 AD? Is it B, in England in the 8th century? Or is it C, in Ireland in the 14th century? I'm going to make kind of abbreviated pauses here because I know you're typing and it's a delay. C. That's a good guess. C. That would have been my guess too. Everybody's saying C. Would you be incredibly surprised to learn that it's A, in India between 500 and 1000 AD? India. I'm going to say that again, between 500 and 1000 AD. I was super surprised by that. That's why I put it into the show. India. But they used a kind of lateral design. You know, Judy, I'm sure you're right. I'm not sure. I didn't research that far, but see, some of you do know that that history is there in India. I was really surprised. I didn't know that at all. So that is another rabbit hole for sure. Today I ran out of time for rabbit holes, but I thought that was really, really early, and it was not the place that I thought. I was thinking, where there's sheep, there's a spinning wheel. Now, this is another, what year was this question? I love this rug. I found this on a site called Online Auction. Simple as that. It sold for $160. I don't know what the date was of the auction, but it says Pontiac 6, 1927. It made me think of the company Pontiac. What year do you think the company Pontiac was founded? 1906, 1916, or 1926? When do you think Pontiac was founded? Oh, Melanie says it's called a Sharka. Interesting. You know, maybe I should do some research. We should do like an episode on the history of the spinning wheel. I'm not a spinner. I'd love to be a spinner. My buddy Jane just got a spinning wheel in Wales, and I've been watching her fool around with it, and it looks like a lot of fun. You have a travel spinning wheel, right? Did you sell that?
I might
Ah. They spun cotton and silk, Melanie says. Melanie, you know a lot about this. That is interesting. Everybody's saying 1926, and you're right. See, you all know. I thought it was earlier. I thought that was really late for Pontiac.
have. 26. Yeah.
Interesting. So let's race through the rest. So this is a rug by Primitives by Carol Ray. Primitives by Carol Ray, and that's RAE on Etsy. Beautiful rug, and it said Gunflint Trail. Now I've never heard of Gunflint Trail, so I'm asking you, where is Gunflint Trail? Is it in Minnesota, Michigan, or Missouri? Where is Gunflint Trail? Minnesota, Michigan, Missouri. These last questions I have for you are quick multiple choice because I'm tired too. I've been spinning since 1982. Melanie, have you? You are a dervish at this point, aren't you? I don't know anything about this history. And I do have books on spinning. I just have not had the time yet. I have the interest and I have the books. I need the time. So, where is Gunflint Trail? Is it Minnesota, Michigan, or Missouri? Minnesota. Absolutely, Carrie, you are right. Good job. Racing forward, this is a Molly Colgrove rug. Remember, Molly Colgrove had a book out with Rug Cooking Magazine this past year, and I covered it on Coffee Time. Amazingly beautiful work. I think it was about landscapes. Molly Colgrove, this is her rug. Now, this is after a very famous painting called The Sleeping Gypsy. Who was the painter of the painting? Is it Paul Gauguin, Paul Cézanne, or Henri Rousseau? The Sleeping Gypsy, the painting, the original painting, was that by Paul Gauguin, Paul Cézanne, oh my God, she's having awful dreams, or Henri Rousseau?
Never done that.
Oh honey, oh honey, what's she dreaming of? What's she dreaming of? Oh, Carrie says, I'm originally from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So you've heard of it. Have you been there? Have you been to that trail? C. C is Rousseau. Yep, that's absolutely right. It's Henri Rousseau. Very famous painting, but not a lot of people know who painted that painting because he didn't have a lot of show. He had a lot of beautiful paintings, but not all of his paintings are famous. So it is hard to identify Rousseau paintings. He's one of the people I'd like to do for Design Like. Very lush, exotic paintings. This is a quick one I'm going to run by you. This is called Passing Elms. I found this. It had already sold, much to my chagrin, because this is on my absolute must-have hit list. This is a pattern that appeared on Etsy and immediately sold. I think it was $68. Which company put out this pattern? Do you think it's Paul? Oh, sorry, Paul. Do you think it's Pearl McGowan, Rittermere, or Shillcraft? It's really far north. Okay, the Gunflint Trail. Yeah, it looked like Carrie, like it was like on the lakes. It looked like that on the map anyway. I pulled it up on the map. So who do you think designed this pattern? It's a company that we have talked about a lot. So Pearl McGowan, that's obviously we talk about her a lot. Rittermere, a lot. Shillcraft, not so much. So that maybe is a Shillcraft did a lot of latch rugs, but they also did hooked patterns and more punch patterns, right? I'm going to race through so we don't get too late because I know you're probably writing the right answer right now. With the delay, it is Rittermere. Yep, you got it, Robin. Absolutely. You all know. We've studied Rittermere rugs like a lot, haven't we? As we should. And we will continue to because it's a huge body of work. You bought it. Karen, oh, you are so lucky. That is a good one. That is the best one. I love that. You probably told me that you got that at the time. I love it. I'm jealous and I love it. So here comes a train question. I found this cute rug called Choo Choo Train. That's the title of it on First Dibs. This is for sale on First Dibs for $2,000. I think that's a little much. Anyway, very ambitious on First Dibs, right? So I have a train question for you. Which train? I have two more questions after this. Which train ran on the world's first intercity line? Is it the Tahoe, the Rocket, or the Orient Express? Train question coming at you. Which train ran on the world's first intercity line? Is it Tahoe, Rocket, or Orient Express? I got this one wrong. You got this one wrong too, Jay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we both got it wrong. It would have been the correct answer actually would have been my third guess. It would have been the classic. So we'll see. This is a lovely rug, I have to say. It's a real pretty rug. It's probably a commercial pattern, but I don't recognize it. There's a lot of um, notation here. Not the Orient Express, Judy. Oh, lots of murders on the Orient Express, right? November 27th, 1963, San Jose, California. Brenton Jack IV. Tahoe. Not the Tahoe. That was my first guess. Orient Express was my second guess. The answer is the Rocket. It was a train used between Liverpool and Manchester. The Tahoe was an American train that ran between 1875 and 1926, and the Orient Express, of course, is that famous romantic speed train. I think it still runs, or there was a long hiatus, but it runs again between Paris and Istanbul, and a great Agatha Christie mystery. We're right at the end now. This rug I found at Christie's. This is the second to last rug. This rug sold at auction in 2012. The estimate was between 4 and 6,000, and it ended up selling for 6,875 at Christie's in 2012. So this is a Hutchinson rug, and the text on it says, "This man hath reached a sorry plight." I can identify with this. "Strange creatures haunt his dreams at night. Might ease the way, oh, sorry, a helping hand, a mug of beer might ease the way to water clear." Classic Hutchinson. So I think this is my all-time favorite Hutchinson rug. I just love the wackiness of the design, right? He's like, I don't know, he's laying forward on a pillow or something, but he's dressed fully in a suit. Maybe he's taking a midday nap. It looks like he's in some kind of ergonomic chair. But I love all of these whimsical, pink elephant, like in the background. Pink elephant was a cocktail book at that time. I have it, like in this like 1920s, 1930s period. I don't know if it corresponded to a bar, but there was a cocktail book that was quite famous that was called The Pink Elephant, that had like all of the kind of cocktails of like that sort of prohibition flapper period. Very cool book. That might be where the pink elephant, because on the cover of the bar book, the elephant has wings. So it might be, yeah, interesting. But anyway, my question for you is, what is the study of dreams called in scientific terms? Is it anemology? Is it onerology? Or is it vexillology? So let me do that again. What is the study of dreams called in scientific terms? Second to last question. Is it anemology? Is it oneirology? Or is it vexillology? So you can do A, B, and C. These are not easy words. These are not dinner table words. The study of dreams. I really love this rug. Looks familiar, Carrie. It does. Oh, God, I have the worst dreams with all this menopause stuff. See, I said it again. The absolute worst. I dreamt I was on a submarine the other day, and like, I hate to say it, but Putin had pressed some kind of a horrible button, and we knew something was coming toward us, and we wondered if we were going to go extinct like the dinosaurs, or if we would be safe because we were underwater. Not good. Not good. So we're getting a lot of guesses for oneirology, and that is the correct answer. Oneirology is the study of dreams. Anemology is the study of winds, like in the sky, and vexillology is the study of flags and the creation of flags. Interesting. And this is the last one of the night. This is another Hutchinson rug. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you. Man works from sun to sun. Women's work is never done. I love this one too. I think this is my second favorite all time Hutchinson rug, James and Mercedes Hutchinson. So what I like about this rug is the text. What I don't like about the rug is the man like taking a snooze on the chaise in the background while the children are fighting. The cat is clawing. The baby is about to fall, and the mother is cooking on a red hot stove. There's laundry all over the place. It's frustrating. But I like the Eureka stove. And my question for you, this is obviously a Eureka stove. What appliance is Eureka best known for? The refrigerator, the washing machine, or the vacuum? Always fun rugs, right? Yep, Jay's got it. You probably know this one. I don't know that I would have known this one off the top of my head. I'm not such a homemaker as I should be. So there is a Eureka stove pictured in this rug, this Hutchinson rug. Last question of the night. What appliance, other than the stove? Yes, Judy, it is the vacuum. Well done. Well done, everybody. Great trivia night. The vacuum. Yeah, I guess Eureka vacuums are a thing, right? What's the vacuum that's so expensive? Auric,
Kirby.
right? Curb, also Kirby. I had an Auric.
Or so
Um,
expensive too, yeah.
yeah, those are good. They're all good vacuums. I had a great night with you tonight. Happy Friday night. That took us with some fun and some laughs right through Friday night. Set you up for a good weekend, did it? I hope it did. I hope it set you up for a good weekend. I will be busy this weekend. I'm working on orders tomorrow. If you have an order with me, I'm working on it tomorrow. I've been working on orders like crazy. Um, and on Sunday, I will be in Madison teaching the multi-strand braiding in rug, the elusive multi-strand, but it is a sold-out class. So no space in there, but I probably will rerun it quite a few times locally, and it is coming to Cape Cod later in the month too. So you are so welcome, Lisa. I had fun with all of you tonight. Get some good rest. Force it, no matter what's going on with you in your life. Force some good rest. Lots of fun. I love being with you always, especially on Friday nights. It sets me up for a good weekend too. It certainly set Baby up for a good weekend. She is still unconscious. So have a great night. And I will see you on Monday for coffee time. We will continue. We'll conclude the look at the rugs that are currently for auction and see what we might want to buy. Have a great weekend in the meantime. And if you need me, I am at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. Look at that new design like class. I would love to see you there. This is going to be the one that I put the most heart into because the subject is so close to me. So much fun. You all did great. I will see you all next week. Happy weekend. Press like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Comment, share, Patreon, all of that stuff. Thank you, Candace. I will try to sleep, Melanie. It's definitely not going to happen. I'm going to take my horrible sleeping pills.